Okay, let's unpack this. Today's mission is, um, well, it's exploring a pretty wild psychological paradox. We are looking into why hitting a huge milestone like passing a massive exam or landing that big promotion often triggers utter dread instead of joy.
Right, that feeling where you finally get the win and just feel total panic.
Exactly. We've got this really fascinating stack of clinical case studies and research papers in front of us, and honestly, reading through them hit really close to home for me. I mean, I have to admit to you listening, when I first sat down behind a broadcasting mic, I felt like a total fraud.
Wait, really? You felt like that right at the start?
Oh, completely. I kept waiting for like security to march in and escort me out because they realized I had just gotten lucky.
Well, that underlying terror of secretly being, incompetent is incredibly pervasive, especially among high achievers. The clinical papers we're looking at define this as imposter syndrome.
Right, imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
which is basically an internal refusal to accept your own success. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, the research shows that even with hard empirical evidence of their skills, people with this syndrome remain utterly convinced they just don't deserve their accolades.
Which raises the question of why. Like, why would the brain actively reject positive data about itself?
It is baffling, isn't it? It's almost like an extreme form of information asymmetry.
Yeah, because we evaluate ourselves using our entire messy internal database. All our doubts, our mistakes, the whole messy process. But then we evaluate everyone else based solely on their polished vibe.
What's fascinating here is how researchers actually categorize that specific cognitive trap. They call it pluralistic ignorance.
Pluralistic ignorance. Okay, break that down for us.
So it's a deeply rooted psychological mechanism. The human brain hates a vacuum, right? And since we don't have access to our colleagues' internal doubts, our brain just sort of fills in the missing data.
Oh, so we falsely assume their confident exterior perfectly matches how they feel inside.
Precisely. We create this massive miscalculation where we assume everyone else has innate mastery.
While we feel forced to just wing it every single day, we're just making it up as we go.
Right, and the cognitive dissonance that creates is staggering. You are so acutely aware of your own improvisation, but since nobody else is vocalizing their struggles because of their own fear of exposure, a collective illusion forms.
So you end up with entire teams of brilliant people sitting in meetings, each secretly convinced they're the only imposter in a room full of geniuses.
Yeah, everyone is just terrified of being exposed.
Okay, but if you're stuck in that illusion, so what does this all mean? Isn't wanting praise from your boss or teacher a good thing? If I'm genuinely unsure of my skills, aggressively seeking feedback seems like a totally healthy, rational reality check.
Well, it is healthy up until it morphs into a dependency on external validation. The clinical studies draw a really sharp line here.
So where is that line? When does it turn bad?
When feedback is used for actual skill acquisition, you internalize it and grow. But when you lack internal self-confidence, you just use that outside praise to self-soothe the imposter syndrome.
Ah, so it acts like a temporary anesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. You aren't looking for growth. You're really just looking for proof that you aren't a failure.
Which means the relief has a terrifyingly short half-life. I mean, you get the glowing performance review, the dopamine hits, you feel safe, but by Tuesday, the insecurity is right back.
Right, because the root cause, that internal belief deficit, was never actually addressed. And this exact mechanism is what leads straight into severe burnout.
Because people overcompensate to keep the anxiety away.
Exactly. They pull 80-hour work weeks and obsess over every little detail. Not because the job actually requires it, but to maintain the illusion of control. The career stops being a journey of mastery and devolves into this grueling, high-stakes performance.
A grueling performance. Man, that frames it so perfectly. For you listening, this research acts as a powerful mirror. It's worth checking in with yourself to see if your drive is coming from genuine ambition, or if you're just exhausted from running on a treadmill trying to prove you belong in the room.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the case studies actually offer a surprisingly uplifting takeaway.
Oh, good. I think we could use some uplifting news right about now.
Yeah, experiencing this friction isn't a weakness, it's often a symptom of expansion. If you feel like an imposter, it usually means you care deeply about your growth.
Because you're actively stepping outside your comfort zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only people who never feel out of their depth are those who never push their own boundaries.
I love that. It totally reframes the anxiety. So just to recap what we unpacked today, we've got imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud or incompetent, comparing our messy reality to someone's polished exterior, having to wing it, seeking external validation, and how that leads to burnout.
It's a lot, but understanding these concepts is the first step out of the trap.
It really is.
Yeah.
But it does leave me with one final provocative thought to mull over.
Oh, what's that?
If almost everyone in that boardroom is secretly suffering from pluralistic ignorance, quietly sweating through their own doubts,
Hmm.
who exactly is the real expert we are all trying so desperately to impress?